In this video, I'm going to look at a student's response to the 150-word task that's on the screen now, look at the errors that they've made, and then look at a potential solution for how they could be better prepared to answer the question in future. So the question that we're looking at is this 150-word task, lo bueno y lo malo de pasar las vacaciones en Inglaterra, and una ocasión en el pasado cuando tuviste problemas con la tecnología. Now, it's worth noting at this point, this is a student that is aiming for a grade 6. So my suggestions for them and the type of language I use in my model upgrade to their text is for their level. So that is sort of at the level 6 level. It won't necessarily be suitable for students working either below or above that level. But as I say, this is a text written by a student that is working towards a grade 6. Now, if we look at what they've written to the response to the 2 bullet points, we can see here there are lots of mistakes in the text. Looking through the text now, I would suggest if you're reading this now, you pause it to look through it. However, if you're continuing with me, you can see there's lots of verb conjugation issues there. Things like mi amigo tu gusta redes sociales, pero mi odio. Basic mistakes there. I believe the majority of these mistakes come from the fact that this student has attempted to write this text without a plan. I believe that they've gone straight into it. They did write this text under exam conditions. I've looked through the answer that they've provided. There is no evidence of a plan. Therefore, to me, that suggests that they've gone into it without a plan. That does make your life a lot harder if you're going to do that. And as you can see in the text, there's instances of using English where there's no clear, coherent structure in their mind, and therefore it's not surprising that their writing does not demonstrate the level needed for them to access the grade that they're looking for. So a solution to this is to focus on a single main idea for this level that you can use as the basis for your response to the 2 bullet points for the 150-word task. So the bullet point number 1 was asking you for the good and the bad thing about spending holidays in England. Bullet point 2 was asking for a time in the past when you had a problem with technology or problems with technology. And looking at this, the good and the bad thing about spending holidays in England, it needs to be, for this level of response, it doesn't need to be super complex. So the good thing, there are lots of big cities such as London. The bad thing, however, the weather can be quite bad. A time in the past when you had a problem with technology. Again, to keep this simple, we're going to say that this person's computer didn't work and they couldn't do their homework. That is, I think, if the student had these ideas written down in front of them before they started writing, their response would have been far. So from here, we want to think key things to include to ensure that we are satisfying the grade requirements. Connectives are very important, time phrases, and some high-level ideas. Now, these are ones that I've looked at with my students. Si tuviera que dar mi opinión, diría que. If I had to give my opinion, I would say that. And then using por un lado, por otro lado, on the one hand, on the other hand. So if we look at an example of this now, so if we look at the first one, good and the bad thing about spending holidays in England, this is a model answer. The student himself hasn't come up with this, but this is one that we've worked towards. Si tuviera que dar mi opinión sobre las vacaciones en Inglaterra, diría que, por un lado, lo bueno es que hay muchas ciudades grandes. So if I had to give my opinion about spending or holidays in England, I would say that on the one hand, the good thing is that there are many big cities. Por ejemplo, en Londres hay muchos monumentos y museos. For example, in London, there are many monuments and museums. También, si te gusta ir de compras, if you like going shopping, hay muchas tiendas muy grandes. There are lots of big shops. Por otro lado, hace muy mal tiempo en Inglaterra. On the other hand, the weather is really bad in England. Y llueve mucho, and it rains a lot, especially in November and December. That would satisfy that bullet point there. We have got the instance of the high-leveled phrase in there. If I had to give my opinion about holidays in England, I would say that on the one hand, The good thing is, dot, dot, dot. Then we go a bit later on and we've got on the other hand. So this person is by presenting an argument like this, you have a balanced response that satisfies the two parts of the bullet point. And then the next one is a time in the past when you had a problem with technology. Again, our key idea here was that the student's computer couldn't work, therefore they couldn't do their homework. So hace 2 años, again, we want time phrases in there rather than just stealing from the question that says una ocasión en el pasado. Rather than stealing that, I would suggest using your own time phrase, and this is a really nice one. Hace 2 años, 2 years ago, mi ordenador no funcionó y no pude hacer mis deberes. My computer didn't work or wasn't working and I couldn't do my homework. Por eso, mi profesor me gritó en clase y me hizo sentir muy mal. Because of this, my teacher shouted at me in class and it made me feel really bad. Normalmente no tengo problemas con la tecnología. Normally I don't have any problems with technology. Actualmente hago mis deberes en mi móvil porque es muy rápido y pienso que es súper útil. Normally I don't have any problems with technology. Currently, I do my homework on my phone because it's really quick and I think it's very useful or super useful. And altogether, that gives us this text here, which for this student, looking to secure that grade 6 or above even, this text using vocabulary and grammar structures that they are familiar with does satisfy that far more than the initial attempt where there was too much confusion, and that confusion arose, in my opinion, because they didn't have a clear idea of what they were going to write.